By now, you're probably aware we are all about food, and real food security. When we talk about all the problems facing our food, it can feel so daunting. So today we're going to show you what we're doing about it. This is a homesteading concept at its heart, but most people, even people very concerned about what they eat, aren't content to eat like a homesteader. Neither are we. So we're going to do some things differently. There are going to be a lot of rabbits and poultry on this channel, sheep, potatoes, canning, drying, smoking different foods, making jams from our berries, using traditional knowledge and techniques to eat in a healthier way. But that's only phase 1 of our plan. Come along, let me tell you the whole plan. I think you're going to like it. Welcome to the Big Farm, where traditional farming and tropical farming meet, right here in the last frontier. If you want to follow along and see how far we can take this dream in Alaska, go ahead and subscribe. And thank you for being part of the journey. The property we're working on now is not the full big farm. Let's call it the medium farm. But it's plenty of space to launch a lot of our plans. Since most of it exists only in our minds, let me take you on a virtual tour. Even though this isn't the final rendition, it includes most of what we want to do, just on a small scale. Our ultimate goal is complete self-reliance. We want to be able to eat whatever we want without buying it. Meat, eggs, dairy, fruit, vegetables, grain, honey. And I mean anything. I love passion fruit. We all love mangoes. So we're going to have to grow them. Even with our short growing season and extreme winters, plenty of things can be grown outside. A lot of the traditional livestock, for instance, actually do remarkably well in our area with minimal climate control. The rabbits actually seem to prefer the winter to the summer. We need to be a bit selective with the species and the breeds we bring in. Windbreaks, shelters, plenty of places to stay dry, keeping their water liquid are all things to keep in mind. The first 3 species we've actually kept for many years. In later videos, I'll dive into a lot of detail. For now, here's the highlights. Rabbits. Rabbits are the perfect small farm animal. They need minimal care to be truly happy and healthy. They're highly efficient as far as feed to meat ratio, which means you can get a lot of meat without a huge financial input. The meat itself is delicious, easy to prepare, extremely healthy. They're typically gentle animals, easy to care for. Their fur is a wonderful secondary product. The best meat breeds as far as growth rate, meat to bone ratio, reproduction, and other productivity measures are California and New Zealand rabbits. We personally keep Rexes because they also do very well in those metrics, and I prefer their fur over any other breed. A pure breed is not required at all though. Most anywhere you live, you should be able to find locals who have their own lines of hardy, excellent quality meat rabbits. Rabbits thrive on pellets, but are also an excellent choice if you're interested in trying out commercial-free diets. Good quality hay should be available at all times, whichever direction you go. They'll typically stop having babies during the winter months unless you supplement their light. Even then, it's not always a bad idea to just let them have a bit of a break in the winter. 2 other thoughts before moving on from rabbits. First, one good reason to let them keep breeding in winter, at least once or twice, is if you intend to keep the fur. Their fur in winter is better quality. And second, housing them. People have long debated housing them in hutches versus colonies. We've done both and prefer colony setups. The females will regulate their own breeding this way. They're able to exhibit more of their natural behaviors, and they just seem happier, at least as far as we can tell. We have to keep their food dry, give them plenty of bedding, a few places to get out of the sun and wind and rain if they want, and they're good to go. They're incredibly cold hardy. Our second animal is quail, Coturnix quail specifically. These funny little birds have some incredible features for a small farm. First off is their almost miraculous growth rate. From the time they hatch to the time they are laying their own eggs is roughly 6 weeks. Nothing else we keep comes even close. They're quieter than most poultry, though by no means silent. Their meat is juicy and tender. I actually prefer the flavor of quail over chicken or other birds. They are astonishingly good egg layers, averaging around 300 eggs per year per bird, especially if light is supplemented during the winter. They're another animal that fits our desire to wean ourselves off of commercial food. They're a true omnivore. They can eat a large variety of foods, and some of the best and most nutritious are various seeds and insects. We've not supplemented their heat other than to keep their water liquid, and they've done very well. The most recent farm animal we added was ducks. We went back and forth between chickens and ducks, but for us it was a relatively easy choice. The right breeds of ducks can be just as prolific as good egg-laying chicken breeds. They're avid hunters, which for our setup was fantastic. We used to lose pounds of animal feed to wild mice. After adding ducks into the area the feed is stored, mice disappeared in just a few days. They eat insects voraciously, helping keep pests down for the garden. Their eggs are larger and a bit more flavorful than chicken eggs. And best of all, they're very well adapted for our climate. Chickens are prone to frostbite when it's wet and cold. Ducks live for it. We offer our ducks full shelter, but they prefer to sleep in the snow. We have literally watched them playing, laying eggs, even breeding in the middle of a blizzard at 15 below zero. We shoo them inside their shelter and they just jump right back out. They're a bit loud, but no louder than chickens. And they love mud, so factor that into your design if you decide to keep them. But we love them. As long as the farm is contained to this property, we won't keep large livestock like cattle, so I'll save that discussion for another day. But one animal we're extremely excited to add is sheep. A few considerations we needed to think about before deciding on a breed were the climate, the condition of our pasture and the land in general, and what we hoped to gain from our sheep. Our highest priority is meat, but wool and even milk would be a wonderful side benefit. Our land has no tame pasture yet, although that's in the works. We do have a couple acres cleared, and once the sticks and roots are removed and the bumps are leveled out, those can be seeded. We left about a half acre of the farm portion of the property forested. Our main trees are spruce, birch, cottonwood, alder, and willow. There are also plenty of edible shrubs in the understory. So we wanted a breed that could handle our cold with no issues, a superb browser, excellent meat qualities, and then wool and milk if possible. We also needed a breed already available in Alaska, where the selection is limited sometimes compared to most states. We settled on Icelandic sheep. We don't have any yet, but you can rest assured when we do, it's going to be a big day for us and we'll document the whole thing. Of course, animals are only part of it. They don't do much good without plants. For food, for forage, and for the kind of balance that makes the whole system work. So let's talk about crops. We have two completely different approaches to crops. First, what can be grown outside? A surprising variety of food crops can be grown right in the ground outside. Fruit is our passion. Raspberries, strawberries, honeyberries, thimbleberries, gooseberries, currants, highbush cranberries are all in the plans for this year and next year. Sour cherries, especially the cultivars in the Romance series, are one of our top priorities. We're working on figuring out how to take cuttings from the Romeo and the Juliet trees at my parents' house. Even though they're sour cherries, they're delicious right off the tree. Apples and crab apples thrive in Alaska, a huge variety of them. We're planning to have little groves of these and a few other hardy fruit trees scattered around the farm in bunches of 4 or 5. Potatoes, sunchokes, asparagus, herbs, lettuces, and a variety of other veggies will be grown in raised beds. We've been pleased to discover that several varieties of grain can grow in our climate. We plan to grow oats, barley, spelt, quinoa, maybe 1 or 2 others. We'll also grow hay for our animals. And this takes us at last to my personal favorite, the greenhouses. These will not be just any old greenhouses. We've been reading for years about ways to keep greenhouses heated through the winter in northern climates, and I believe we have it figured out. What I mean is keeping them heated off-grid. I'm not just going to plug in a million space heaters. The utility bill would be through the roof. Not to mention a power outage would be catastrophic. Each mango would cost me about $50 in energy bills. We're planning to combine as many passive heating strategies as possible, along with very careful construction and placement of the greenhouses, and a minimal amount of heat input for especially cold nights, using wood from our own property. There's a lot of details, and I think it deserves an episode all on its own, but these greenhouses are going to be our tropical escape. I told myself when we finally decided we were going to live in Alaska for good, that I was going to do whatever it takes to have a little tropical getaway. I wanted to be able to go crunching through the snow on some freezing February morning and walk into my jungle paradise, pick a guava, watch some tree frogs climbing around, relax in a hammock strung between two coconut trees, bring in a bunch of fresh bananas back to the house for smoothies. This desire eventually morphed into our food desires. Our goal to be able to eat whatever we want, grown on our own land. These greenhouses are the answer. They're going to be big, and we're going to have a lot of them. We are not experts. We are learning. We're testing some of our ideas, and then adjusting. That's part of what we're documenting with these videos. Not just the results, but the process of figuring it out. This is the boldest and least tested part of our plan. Before building a large greenhouse, we're going to run a test pilot, a smaller version, just big enough to fit all of our various heating concepts inside. We'll run it for a full winter and see how it does. Make whatever adjustments are necessary before trying it on a large scale. I have so many ideas for these greenhouses. That will be a fun episode. So there you have it. The farm animals, the outdoor crops, and the greenhouse crops. They seem like three only vaguely related sections of the farm, but in reality they're all one. Not just because they serve one purpose, feeding us, but because they rely on one another. We won't be using chemical fertilizer, so we're going to need animal manure. We want to get away from commercial animal feed, so we're going to need a lot of space to be dedicated to growing their feed ourselves. We're going to need pollinators, a watering system. It's all connected, even the tropical plants. We really do intend to grow everything. That's what makes it the big, big farm. Not the acres, the variety, the scope. So stick with us. We are so excited to see how far this can go.